Page 71, Folk Melody in C major. They're introducing a scale, basically a sort of a key signature too, and C major is a key. So let's talk about them. On page 70 they introduce it. Telling you at the top it's made up of tetrachords. This is the way John Thompson introduces scales. Okay, you've got 4 notes. A scale starts on the name of the note, whatever. A C scale will start on C. Get it? Okay. And you got 4 notes. So you run out of fingers, and then you use the fingers in the other hand to do the other 4 notes. C major scale uses only the white keys because there are no sharps and flats in C major. There is a standard fingering for scale, and they show that on page 70. It's not using tetrachords. It's using each hand can play the whole scale. Okay, you simply start. Your thumb is going to play C and F in the right hand. Then you have to bring the thumb under to play the F, and then do the right. Cross over with the third going down. All right. Left hand, the thumb plays the G and the C. Third finger. Cross under the third finger for the. Watch my video on C major scale, and that'll cover it. Okay, you can do the beginner part. In that video, I discuss beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and tell you what I think you should do. Now, as far as the key signature goes, C major doesn't have any sharps or flats. So if you look on page 71, you see the treble clef and bass clef there, and you see a time signature. But you don't see any sharps or flats in there, okay? That means it's in C major. Actually, it could be in A minor, but you haven't had minors yet, so forget that. It's C major, okay? Just take my word for it. It's in C major. That comes in really, really handy if you want to get into improvising, to know what key you're in and so forth. And we'll get into the chords eventually, I'm sure. As far as playing this piece on 71 goes, you've had all this stuff before. There's really nothing new here. There's a fermata on the last measure, so that half note gets 2 counts, so I'm going to hold it for 4 counts because of the fermata. There is a ritardando in the last line. I'm going to ignore that because when I play with a metronome I don't slow down. You can do the crescendo and decrescendo and all that stuff. They picked this piece because the first 3 full measures of the piece, starting with the high C, happens to be a descending C major scale with the fingering for a C major scale. All the way down to C, right? If you can play the scale, this kind of thing is piece of cake. You can sight read it, it's not a problem. If you're not familiar and you can't play the scale, then you struggle with it just trying to figure out what the notes and the fingering and all that junk is. So learn that scale and this piece will be much easier for you to play. Now your hands are going to move around a little. Not much for the left hand, because basically it's C. You just got to move the thumb up occasionally for an A. So that thumb is going to be covering 2 keys. That's common. It's not a problem. I hope it's not a problem. But the right hand is going to move around a little because you're starting out up here, and then you're going to do the scale that takes you down to here, and then for the last 2 eighth notes in the first line, you got to go back up to here. Right. Then the last measure of the second line, you're going up to here. Into this position. And for the first measure of the third line, right hand, you can put the thumb on the A. And then watch the fingering there. Thumb on the C. So that's really about all the fingering there. It's tricky. Now, there's a lot of tied notes. In the left hand, those first 2 dotted half notes, 2 measures of dotted half notes, those are tied. So you're only going to play it once. Hold it down for the full 2 measures, and then you'll play it again, you hold it down. Now, there is a rest at the end of the line to make sure in the left hand you lift it up so you get 1 beat of silence in the left hand. Those eighth notes need to be by themselves. Now again, bring out the melody, which happens to be in the right hand here, all right? Not a problem. It also has phrasing marks, so we want to hear a little silence between the phrases. And by that I mean the melody is silent. The accompaniment doesn't have to be silent between, it's different. All right? We're talking phrasing in the melody here. Accompaniment can have its own phrasing, but doesn't really look like they're doing that yet. Now it may confuse some people. If you'll take a look at the second line, the third and fourth measures of the second line in the left hand, you have the E and the G, and then an F, G, and then an E, G. The notes aren't confusing. It's that curved line. You think, is that a tie? Is that a phrase? Because they're all the same pitch. And the answer is it has to be a phrase or a slur because there's more than two notes involved. It covers more than two notes. If it were a tie, they'd have to have a separate curved line between each of the G's. And then you could tie the G's together. But they didn't. So what they want you to do here is connect them. Frankly, I think the curved line is a waste of time. You're going to play it the same way whether it's there or not. You get the same thing for the last two measures in the left hand. It's a phrase, it's a slur. Not much of a phrase, but it's a slur, which means connect them, but make sure you play them. I'm going to point it out, something I'll point out just in case you miss it. Okay, you shouldn't miss it. I mean, it's clear enough, it's right there. Just in case. In the left hand at the beginning, when the left hand plays, that's a C and an E. Okay? The whole first line, it's a C and an E. When you get to the second line, don't be fooled, that's not a C and an E anymore. That's an E and a G. Okay? They look very similar, but they're not in the same spaces if you check. So be careful. The first line is down here, the second line is here. And the last line is up here. So let's try this out and see what happens. 3/4 time, but there is a pickup. So I'm going to give you 3 counts plus 2. A full 3 counts and then 2 more just to make sure you're ready. So go ahead and put your hands where they go. No pedal. 1, 2, 3, ready, go. Two, 3, 4, off.